Alert! Here's a list of 20 large companies that have just decided to conduct mass layoffs. Michael Snyder reports. The layoffs are starting to come at a fast and furious pace now. At what point will the mainstream media finally admit that we're facing major crisis? In recent days, I've been writing quite a bit about the alarming transition that the employment market is going through. There's a lot more competition for any jobs that are still available, and one recent survey discovered that almost 40% of US companies anticipate that they will be conducting layoffs in 2024. 40%. But even though I'm just reporting the facts, I've had people write to me and insist that things really aren't that bad, even though the government's own numbers show that the US lost a ton of full-time jobs in December. These people apparently believe the propaganda that's being fed to them by the Biden administration. Look, the truth is that the economy really is bleeding good jobs. And here I'm going to provide you with 20 examples of large companies that have just decided to conduct mass layoffs. One of our too big to fail banks has just announced that it will be eliminating 20,000 good paying jobs. Citigroup on Friday said that it will slash 20,000 jobs. The reductions detailed in the company's fourth quarter financial results deck can be linked to Citi continuing to execute its ongoing reorganization. Citi will axe the positions over the medium term, something that should ultimately bring its expenses down by $2 to $2.5 billion, according to the company. Two, even though this is an election year, NBC News has decided that a bunch of far-left staffers have become expendable. NBC News has laid off several dozen staffers, the latest of dozens of companies to start off the new year with bad news for its employees, USA Today confirmed on Friday. A source familiar with the plan said that employees were given a 60-day notice and will get severance packages and outplacement. Number three, Universal Music Group is making a ton of money from their relationship with Taylor Swift, but they still have decided to eliminate hundreds of jobs. Universal Music Group, the corporate home of mega pop star Taylor Swift, is reportedly set to slash hundreds of jobs in the latest bloodbath to hit the entertainment industry. The music label is planning to eliminate hundreds of jobs in the first quarter of the year, and people with knowledge of the matter told Bloomberg News the company's recorded music division will be hit hardest. Taylor Swift ranks among the latest biggest stars, having signed a recording deal with the company in 2018 and an exclusive publishing contract 2 years later. The label also represents Drake and Despacito singer Louis Fonsi. Number four, Xerox was once one of the most famous companies in the world, but now they've decided to reduce their workforce by another 15%. Xerox on Wednesday announced it will cut 15% of its workforce as part of a plan to implement a new organizational structure and operating model. Xerox, which offers digital printing and document management technologies, had about 20,500 employees as of December 31st, 2022. According to a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, based on this figure, Wednesday's layoffs will affect about 3,075 employees. Number five, things aren't going very well for the auto industry these days, and Stellantis has just announced that more than 500 employees will be permanently separated from the company. Stellantis NV said Monday that 539 supplemental employees across the U.S. manufacturing footprint are being permanently separated from the company following an evaluation of operations. The automaker said it notified on Friday the affected workers, who are part of the class of lower paid employees known as temporary workers at General Motors Company and Ford Motor Company. The workforce reduction was effective immediately. Number six, software company Meridian Link has decided it is time to delete 9% of its staff. Thoma Bravo-backed Meridian Link, which sells software to financial institutions like regional banks and credit unions, is laying off 9% of its staff, according to the regulatory filing. Thursday, the cuts followed a slowdown in Meridian Link's revenue growth and a 69% drop in its operating income. 69%, of course, because banks are closing in the first 9 months of the year. Number 7, apparently there aren't enough simps watching half-naked women around video games these days, so Twitch will be laying off more than a third of its entire workforce. Amazon live streaming platform Twitch announced it will cut 35% of its workforce in the blog post. As you know, they said, "We've worked hard over the last year to run our business as sustainably as possible," wrote Twitch CEO Dan Clancy in a blog post. "Unfortunately, we still have work to do to right-size our company, and I regret having to share that we're taking a painful step of reducing our headcount to just over 500 people across Twitch." Number 8, this is the point: things are so bad that even Google is laying off lots of workers. Google is starting 2024 by cutting several hundred jobs across the company. The company confirmed the layoffs to USA Today Friday, and that they will impact employees within Google's hardware and central engineering teams, as well as employees who work on Google Assistant, the company's voice-activated software product. Other parts of the company were also affected. So are you starting to get the picture? For those of you that still need additional examples, here are 12 more that were just posted by Susan Duclos. Dixie's Pickstark cut staff by 20% this year, TechCrunch reports. Discord will eliminate 17% of its employees to sharpen focus, The Verge reports. Amazon will lay off hundreds of Prime Video and MGM studio workers, The Hollywood Reporter writes, as well as 5% of its Audible staff. BlackRock will lay off 3% of its global workforce, Bloomberg reports. The NFL has offered buyouts to around 200 of its 1,100 person staff, CNBC reports. Rent the Runway will cut 10% of its corporate employees, including the COO, Bloomberg reports. Unity Software will lay off 1,800 people, 25% of its workforce, Reuters reports. Duolingo will eliminate 10% of its contractor positions, Bloomberg reports. Newell Brands, Sharpie, and Rubbermaid producer will cut 7% of its office roles, the Wall Street Journal reports. Video Amp will lay off 20% of its employees, Ad Age reports. The Messenger will cut around 24 jobs, in New York Times reports. Cheddar has furloughed workers due to unforeseen factors, in New York Times reports. So this is really happening. The U.S. economy really is bleeding good jobs at a staggering rate, and the long-term outlook is not good at all. In fact, the IMF is projecting that nearly 40% of all global jobs could be affected by the rise of artificial intelligence. 40%. Almost 40% of jobs around the world could be affected by the rise of artificial intelligence, AI, a trend that is likely to deepen inequality, according to the International Monetary Fund. In a Sunday blog post, IMF chief Kristalina Georgieva called for governments to establish social safety nets and offer retraining programs to counter the impact of AI. I'd like to know how they're going to do that. In most scenarios, AI will likely worsen overall inequality, a troubling trend that policymakers must proactively address to prevent the technology from further stoking social tensions, she wrote, ahead of the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, WEF, in Davos, Switzerland, where the topic is set to be high on the agenda. It won't be too long before AI takes millions of American jobs. I would encourage you to get my new book for a deeper look at why artificial intelligence is likely to turn our society completely upside down. Of course, AI is just one of the trends that's working against us. We're moving into a future in which much of the population will no longer be needed to run the gigantic corporations that dominate our society. The gap between the wealthy and the poor is already larger than has ever been, and it gets even bigger with each passing year. The stage is being set for massive societal meltdown, and it's not going to be pretty. Michael Snyder reports. This is by Michael Snyder, and he says about the author, my name is Michael, And my brand new book entitled Chaos is now available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing. And one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I have also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream and the Most Important News, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely ask and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is on the Economic Collapse blog by Michael Snyder. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.